the recording changed.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how that would have worked if I'd actually gotten a FOIA request in while they were out.
Yeah, that's interesting because by law, you know.
Please enter your participant or moderator code followed by the pound key.
I mean, they put, you're supposed to respond within.
Please say your name followed by the pound key.
Obviously, there are exceptions.
You are the first participant in the conference.
Okay, let the minutes reflect that we are now back in open session. The closed session has been concluded by agreement of the parties. No matters were discussed other than the issue for which the closed session was taken. No votes were taken or any other action. There being no further discussion, is there a motion to end the closed session?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Derby and a second from Smith to end the closed session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that should be it.
And
Thank
we're
you, guys.
just gonna, we don't have any action, so we'll
Yeah,
skip number 3.
Yeah, we'll skip number 3.
Okay, have a good day.
Move straight to 9:30 a.m. Mary Lou Cleveland, Veterans Affairs, to discuss with possible action quarterly report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
There you go. I've attached both the fourth quarter report as well as the annual report. As far as the annual report goes, it's mostly a summary of the 4 quarters. The only thing I would point out on the annual report is that we have had an increase from November of 24 to November of 25 of $43,475 coming into the county. And so in the past 4 years, the monthly amount coming into the county has increased by over $142,000. So really grateful for that. As far as October to December, October is probably one of the busiest months I've ever had in my office. I had 95 phone calls, or I made phone calls, which was a little crazy, especially I was gone for a whole week for training, so that was a lot. September was the same way. Lots of office visits that month as well, and then things kind of closed down, or quieted down. The fourth quarter was really busy with Veterans Day activities. We ran ads to kind of coincide with Veterans Day at KIOW, and I focused 2 different ads on one, trying to reach new veterans, and then trying to reach veterans who have never met me or come into my office. There's a lot of people I'm meeting that they haven't been in 10 years. Well, it's time to ask for an increase in their compensation. So we did that. I did a thank you for veterans, and then for the first time I attended the free breakfast at Hy-Vee. They invited me to have a table. That was super helpful. Met a lot of people that way, and then did the Winnebago Industries luncheon program. That was the 5th year for it, and I've been there all 5 years. First time I attended, I've been working for maybe 3 weeks or something. It was kind of interesting. So that was helpful, and then thank you to you for doing the Operation Greenlight proclamation. I was able to do a KIOW morning conversation with AJ Taylor, and then he wrote an article about that, and then that was picked up by Iowa Radio. So that was like an unexpected outreach activity too. I attended Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs fall training in October, and I did put in the annual report the only significant change as far as VA as a whole was a law change on July 1st made Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs exclusively responsible for our training, and so that means the association that I belong to with the other 98 counties could not be involved. I will say that the training was mostly mediocre, and it was not the greatest experience. However, anytime I go to training, I manage to glean something, and there was a lot of networking and help from other VSOs. I've also been doing the monthly training that the association offers on a specific topic, and that's been probably one of the most valuable things I've been able to invest my time in. Leland became the final community in Winnebago County to be designated as home base Iowa. So I was able to go to the dedication for that, and then at the end of December, a veteran moved into Winnebago County, and he received one of the county incentives from home base Iowa. So we now have the entire county, all the communities have committed to home-based Iowa, which is really exciting because that's kind of been a long time coming. So Melissa Michaelis and I worked on that really diligently. And got your numbers there for November. Haven't gotten the end of December numbers yet. It's a little too early. So do you have any questions or comments?
Do you think, since this has been a long process in home-based Iowa, some of the first ones that signed on to it are needing to update their offerings towards home-based Iowa?
I know a couple of them were kind of discussing that. We're kind of looking at what other counties had ended up deciding to do. And I believe, gosh, which community was it? Maybe Buffalo Center was going to kind of look and see if they needed to change theirs. There is somebody that's going to be moving into Buffalo Center. She's currently stationed in Hawaii, and she's originally from Buffalo Center, and she's already bought a home there. So she'll be coming back in sometime probably July, August, when she's actually discharged from the Army, or just, I'm not sure which branch. So that's kind of exciting.
She's in the Army, I think.
Yeah, is she? Okay. Hawaii to Buffalo Center, but she's used to the rural. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you've never lived in a rural community, that's going to be quite the change, weather-wise and culturally. And
No, she doesn't have to worry about
She's
volcanoes.
moving into Grandpa and Grandma's house.
okay, perfect. Well, she's been in contact with me, and I guess the only other thing I would say is that I did comment that the numbers of the monthly amount coming in would greatly increase if the VA could get their act together. I will say that there's been some good changes since we have a new VA secretary, Doug Collins. However, things continue to be slow. They've been really slow the past month. I don't know if that's because of the holidays or what, but slow in making decisions, slow in getting the exams scheduled for the veterans, and then especially slow in having those exams uploaded to the VA. Not sure if that's a examiner problem or a VA problem. There should definitely be more follow-up. I had a veteran that's been done for 2 months or so. So I'm constantly making reminders that after 60 days, I can follow up and go to a portal and have them check. But I have issues with a widow who's got a DIC pension because her husband died of service-connected conditions. And there's a technicality, and they're holding her money hostage. So she has not gotten her retroactive payment, and she has not gotten her monthly payment. She literally barely can make ends meet. I mean, literally, she has to kind of make choices every month about what to pay. And I checked on it, and they're like, well, we're sorry, there's a problem, and we would appreciate your patience. And no, we're sorry, we can't give you a time frame. And then they keep sending it to this black pit, and I have to keep checking.
I think it's time to get a hold of senators and Congress
Yes.
people and
I actually should tell her to do that, because we reached out, I reached out to somebody else about it, at the VA. That's probably a good idea. But I get frustrated. I have appeals pending. I have regular claims that are just kind of sitting, and I just don't know what it is that they're quite doing. Lots of denials lately too. Hearing loss, tinnitus, and sleep apnea. They absolutely have decided that they're going to make that really difficult. I think sleep apnea is next to impossible. They just want to blame it on obesity, or just say it wasn't service connected, even though they were exposed to burn pits. And so that's been a real uphill battle. So I have just submitted probably 3 super huge claims. So we'll see what happens with those. Lots of conditions. One was an appeal with only 2 conditions, but we submitted so much evidence. So fingers crossed they'll look at it appropriately. So
At
that's my
one
big
time, you
frustration.
kind of thought they were just kicking it back to you just because they, I don't know, what, were they nitpicking stuff? Or
Yeah,
they just were,
they nitpick, and like, I just had one where, like, silly things. The one they said I needed to turn in the form. I already turned in the form. And the one is like, can you not use common sense that, the way that they do these boxes, you have to check mark something on the box, but then when it generates, it's a box that makes more sense. So it shows that it's the surviving spouse, but initially it doesn't. So they kicked something back and said, well, you said it was for the veteran, and he's dead. So how can this be? And I'm like, okay, use some common sense. I checked the wrong box. But you still have to respond to that. And then they got super picky and made me do 4 expense reports and 4 income reports, like one over a 3-month period, and then a 2-month period, and then a 6-month period, and then a year. It's just a lot of busy work, quite frankly. But you have to play their game. And that's especially true with pensions in order to get, especially these widows that are in nursing facilities and their money is just, they're just running through their money. They could sell their house, but they're gonna be through that, whatever, $80,000 in 8 months, literally less than 8 months, because it's so expensive. And then they go on Medicaid and then that's a whole nother thing with the VA, so yeah, those are the frustrations. It's mostly with the VA. I love my veterans. And actually, I got to call 2 right before Christmas. They both got to 100%, and they both were a long time coming. And the one gentleman just was like, "You have made my whole Christmas." And then the other gentleman, it was certainly life-changing for him. It's a very sad story. And he kept going, "Are you kidding me? Are you making this up?" I'm like, "I'm not making it up." He said, "You got it. We had done a claim, and then we had to do something else." And he was, "I can't believe it." And I mean, this gentleman has thanked me, I bet you 50 times. I mean, every time he texts me, calls me, he's thanked me, like, I think 6 times since then. So, yeah, that's what makes it worth it. The numbers, in a way, don't really make any difference. It's like talking to them or seeing them in my office.
Sure. So I probably should know the answer to this, but when it's home base and these different towns are home base, what if a veteran comes out and moves onto an acreage?
They receive a county incentive, but they do not receive the city incentives. So the gentleman that just moved, he actually moved from Titanca to Forest City, but on an acreage. So he wasn't in the Forest City limits, so he didn't get the Forest City incentive, but he did get the county incentive. And because he moved within the state, he couldn't get the state incentive. Whereas the person's moving from Hawaii, she'll get the state, county, and then if she's within Buffalo Center, city limits, she would get the Buffalo Center limits as well. So that's not a silly question. I had to clarify that with Melissa because I was a little confused about it and I wanted to tell this gentleman correctly.
Sure, how it works.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the quarterly report for Veterans Affairs.
I'll second.
Motion Derby and second Smith to approve the Veterans Affairs, or quarterly report for the Veterans Affairs. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Consider approval master matrix resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the master matrix resolution for the year.
I'll second.
Motion from Derby and a second from Smith to approve the master matrix resolution. All in favor, say aye.
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 Just since there's a signature, it doesn't need a stamp.
Right.
Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
I don't have anything today.
All right. Anybody else?
Nope.
Well, this is gonna be a boring meeting.
It'll liven up.
Yeah, we got, okay, oh yeah, this will bring it to life. Scott Minders, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters there. Oh, we're rolling.
I got some interesting things today. Well, I brought with me some project stuff and some budget notes to discuss. We'll do that last in my segment. First, we'll kind of just talk about any updates. We have, as you know, an opening in Buffalo Center that we're trying to fill. We have applications due on Friday. We've gotten some applications in, and I'm confident we'll find one from the stack, so I don't expect to move the deadline. We'll hire somebody from this pool. We had yesterday morning, treated roads, and they had gotten slippery, mostly from the misty conditions. I'd say probably more the culprit than anything. we did a little bit of treating at the request of So we've gotten a little bit of pressure from other departments about when to be putting our plow trucks in motion. And we're sorting through a little bit about how to address that.
Where to draw the line and,
Well, the decision lies in our department based on the rules that are in the ordinance that is approved by the board. And we have one person, our maintenance superintendent, Ethan, who makes that decision, based on patrolling the county. So we're gonna maybe do a little bit of studying of our ordinance and policies and things and try to communicate that to the other departments. Maybe we'll have a sit down and kind of talk about what that looks like and revisit how we communicate with each other and who's making what decisions.
Well, I mean, the final decision is yours. They could just influence your decision is all. I mean, if they have a good reason for what they might want, you guys consider it, and if not, you guys just say no.
That's right.
then if they want it changed, they have to come to us and have that ordinance changed.
That's right. Sounds like we're on the same page, so it's just something that we haven't, to my knowledge, sat down and walked through in a while. I think since I've been here, that kind of all parties have sat and looked at that together. So that's something we'll get together on.
It's dangerous for plow trucks to be out there sometimes too, it's,
Yeah.
I don't wanna risk anybody, even though I guess maybe they're a little more used to it, but,
You can't be out there treating for every Ford Taurus that tries to get from Buffalo Center to Ford City.
Yeah. I mean, the two major things that
I had to,
were reasons we're being called, right? These heavy snowstorms, blizzard conditions, emergency call-outs when somebody's stuck,
Yeah.
needs to be rescued. That's one thing. The other thing is we had an accident or somebody slid off the road, and the conditions are fine except for slippery road conditions. I think that's more the one where if the expectation is that we have dry pavement, we're not on the correct understanding.
well,
Our
in
job is
certain
to plow
conditions,
snow.
that's impossible,
And
unless you're out there with great big torches, behind your truck's melting it off.
The biggest thing is frost. We don't treat frost. And the reason we don't treat frost is because once you start treating frost, you never end.
Well, and this afternoon it'll be gone anyway, or even late morning probably, so.
Correct. And then, salt on the road surface or brine draws moisture out of the road, creating more frost. So it's just a situation, if we start treating frost, we're treating from November till January, and our salt budget's gonna go through up to, it changes our whole game plan of how we treat weather conditions and plowing snow.
Well, he was referencing some poor devil trying to drive his Ford Taurus here this morning, and sometimes said he was down to 20 or 45 mile an hour because it was just, that car's just terrible. I should drove the pickup.
well, I think the one thing that we often hear is like, when in doubt, why don't we just put some material down? If you have the assumption that the more you do, the more you put down, the better it'll be, you're misunderstanding what our strategy is. The best thing we can do is let the weather work in our favor rather than try to fight it. And so the primary thing we look at is the forecast for the next few days and whether treating the road will help us for the next few days or even further into the winter, or whether it will make more work for our crew and
Or
more
Mother
money
Nature is
spent.
gonna take care of it in a couple days, why go out there and spend a bunch of money taking care of it? But,
Right.
I mean, I understand what they're getting at, they just, if it was your family member that got in an accident because of it, you would want them treated all the time, you know, but unfortunately, monetary decisions have to be made too, so.
So you've got, what, 3 products you apply? One would be brine, one would be salt, and one would be sand?
Yeah, most of the time it's 50/50. This is just pure ice, then we use salt and brine for colder conditions.
So this,
Brine primarily for Pilot Knob Hill. That's the primary use for it for us. Place that's protected from wind. It's very steep and dangerous, narrow roadways with steep edges. But for the most part, we don't run that around too much for prep. So,
like the state uses it on intersections and bridges, don't they, a lot?
I think they use brine from end to end a lot.
Yeah,
Lots
they
of times
do,
they
but-
do, yeah.
But in other cases, they'll just do the bridge and the intersections and then,
For pre-treatment, you have to get kind of ahead of something.
I got just a mile or so south on R20 when I decided, I said, you should have took the highway. You got the wrong car for this road.
I didn't mean to call you out or anything. I was trying to keep it,
You would think a guy with as much driving
He was
experience
trying
as
to
me
keep
could
it
handle it.
obscure, weren't you?
yeah,
right, I mean, when it comes to conditions like this, state highways is certainly better because they're treated.
Mhm.
But you and I know that certain conditions, our roads are in better shape because of the two strategies.
I like your gravel roads, so I just take gravel across.
they're pre-treated.
Yeah, exactly. And you can go whatever speed you want.
Yeah, a little grit coming through can really
Mhm.
improve traction.
Mhm.
That's all I got for routine updates today. Want to talk projects?
Yes.
Okay. Got 3 things to look at that I threw together for today from last week. Shouldn't say I threw them together. I printed them off from work that I had spent a while putting together for budget purposes. Okay, we got 3 things. One is this 5-year construction program spreadsheet. And that is my working document that I juggle projects and have all of the kind of relevant data about what they cost for bridges, what the postings are, traffic volume, all those pertinent pieces of information to know how to prioritize projects. It includes construction projects and maintenance projects. It includes paving, any type of reconstruction, bridges and roads. It includes surface treatments and larger maintenance projects, such as large culvert replacements that are kind of above and beyond routine work. So that's one. One is a map of what I'm proposing that we include for this coming summer for construction and maintenance. That's the map, the hand-drawn map. And then the third one with this chart in it is outlines my strategy for pavement maintenance and ensuring we have good pavements at the end of our 5-year program. So let's start with the map. I drew this map up as we looked at our road crew workload and looked at how much money we had left in the TIF account after we have, expended all the expenses for this year's projects, have some a few things planned. I added a few surface treatments to build out, to program out the rest of the TIF money, and those are highlighted in yellow. They are a surface seal for the roads that we paved this last summer, and microsurfacing on 838 east of Leland. If you remember last year, we had some hot in place recycling projects that we didn't put any surface treatments on. Those roads would be treated with some sort of a surface sealer, and then the roads that we paved new over by Rake and Buffalo Center, we would also treat with some sort of a fog seal. Those might be two different products depending on what we're trying to accomplish. The new pavement, we may be looking at reclamite, which is something that corrects the chemistry from when the asphalt is heated and brought out to the site. So it kind of soaks into the pavement and helps out with the sealing of the surface and some of the flexibility.
So some of these you have dollar amounts on, but others you don't.
Okay, some of the projects are maintenance projects, so we wouldn't typically track those costs. However, I have assembled those for the budget, and they didn't make it onto the spreadsheet or onto my map.
So like, it's just A38 and R16.
Yeah, so fog seals, we typically estimate about 15,000 a mile. So for R16, maybe 60,000, somewhere around there. Microsurfacing has been around 35,000 a mile. So 838, 440,000. I see. I have the fog seals all totaled up under the R20 and Rake one there.
Oh, that's a total, the 180?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what is the R50 and the A31? Oh, that one includes R16. I see.
There we go.
Got it. I got it.
Yep. Put this map together maybe a month ago.
It's just interesting.
Mm-hmm. So then we have, maybe we'll talk about the green projects, which include both construction projects, which include bridge replacements and also some smaller culvert replacements. For instance, the one north of Buffalo there, E7N, is a project where we had a hole to fix in the shoulder of the road and realized the bottom of this pipe is all rotten. So we made a temporary fix and decided to program it in. That's something we'd like to do this summer. If it doesn't happen this summer, that's fine. It could probably survive for a couple years if needed, but it's bad, so we're putting it on the list. 66-inch diameter pipe. And then the next one up on the state line, we talked about this a while ago, but there's a wooden bridge on the state line that has sneaked by any inspections between the fact that it's kind of three jurisdictions overlapping right there with Freeborn County, the Minnesota Township, and us. And Minnesota is now required to inspect every structure, even on state lines, 10 feet and over. This one is about 10-foot span. So they're going to inspect it and let us know what it comes out as. My assumption is it's not going to be good, and we'll have to post it until it gets replaced. It's only a 48-inch culvert that is downstream of it, so it's not really a huge project. So we included it here. That one maybe would be 20,000 or less. The main cost coming from the length of the pipe since it's so deep through there. We will attempt to split that cost with the township that we share jurisdiction with. Sometimes in the past, we have told them about the project and given them some time to make payments to us. This one being pretty small, maybe they'll be able to handle it within a year. Working around J3N1 is by Leland. This bridge is not yet posted. However, the estimated remaining life is listed as 8 years, and I don't have this year's report back. This project may or may not happen. We have thrown our name in the ring to do some research related project with helical pile. If you picture most bridges, they're pounding H-pile down these tall pile drivers on a crane. And this project would be to put in helical pile, but picture a auger for a hole, but instead of bringing the dirt up, it screws down into the ground. It's something that, they'll use the soil data to figure out how deep and how big these need to be, and they can be screwed in the ground with a skid loader or an excavator. And once that's done, you pour a concrete cap on it and put your typical bridge span. In our case, we don't have experience in the crew of building bridge slabs, so we would likely look at prefabricated steel structure or precast concrete structure, something that's pre-engineered and delivered to the site. We'll see how that research proceeds. If it gets to the point where we have to pay for 100% of the helical piles and it's more than I expected, we maybe would pull the plug on this one.
So this is too big to put a culvert in.
It isn't. It would take a big culvert along
Well, downstream we have a
14
double.
by 12.
Is it just one or
downstream.
two there?
It's just a single downstream.
Okay.
And it's 14 by 12, so this one would be probably that size. It might be 110 foot long or something, pretty good stretch. So it's possible. I had originally planned this for a federal aid box culvert project, and we've looked at a lot of different ideas for this one because it has tall concrete abutments with piling underneath, and our inspectors are derating it just because of the age. And I personally feel like it's in better condition, but I don't have a way of certifying this.
Why would they just derate it because of age?
To a certain degree, I think because inspecting concrete is a little more difficult than wood piling, for instance. You see the surface start slaking off, and you see these shadow lines where you don't know if it has the potential to crumble or not. So I think it's just part of the equation.
Yeah, you think the strength
I
would
make
be the strength.
I make a case for things like this all the time, that it's concrete. Some of the concrete that was poured in those days is impressive how well it's lasted compared to some of our things done in the late 90s
And they used a lot of
early
it.
2000s.
It must have been cheap too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the abutments are probably 14 foot tall, and they're maybe 2 foot thick, and go all the way up to the bottom of in this case, steel beams, and then there's a concrete deck on it. So we've looked at a few options for this location to reuse the footings, with some sort of arch span between the two abutments. Again, just trying to find an idea that somebody's wanted to put their signature on. And this one would have that benefit, is somebody would design the helical pile foundation system, and then somebody else would design the.
This one right now seems like a kind of a narrow bridge too, with a cheap
It's,
railing.
maybe 24 feet from outside to outside, so when you're driving over it, maybe it's 22 foot clear. And we could improve that a little bit, or a lot of it. Most of these modular bridges can be put in at any width. Most of the concrete bridges now we put in are only 24 feet, so not a lot more. At least on gravels.
Maybe it's just the railings that give you the uneasiness that you don't want to meet somebody on it.
Yeah, I mean, even the concrete bridges that are 24 foot wide, you don't love
don't-
to meet people
I'll
on
wait. I'll wait.
those. Yeah.
Even though technically there's plenty of room.
Yeah, plenty of room. I mean, it's the same width as a blacktop.
Yeah, but
Or
Not
narrow.
with the combine.
the way some people drive down the middle of the road, it's not.
Yeah, yeah. And most pavements are 22 feet wide, and of course you don't have anything next to you that makes you feel like you're gonna get
Yeah.
side scraped or something. Okay, moving around then, just to the west of there, I have marked this wooden box we talked about with Tom Thompson.
Mhm.
I have it marked as to budget for its replacement. I'm working on getting some guidance on whether or not this culvert can be lowered, and it looks like we would replace it at the current elevation. But it's in bad shape, so we got kind of two things. One is his request to lower it, and one is it needs to be replaced for condition concerns. So maybe by the time we get into the budget year, we'll have all that kind of ironed out.
So you're saying that one's gonna be at the same level that it is right now then?
It's the way it looks to me.
You took shots of it and everything then? or it just
I
looks
haven't
that way?
done that, but if you go out there and take a site visit, the culverts appear appropriate. They drain the water that naturally flowed through there. Let's say if the roads were erased, it would appear that they do that. Even if they're not low enough to reach out into the lowest parts of the field and, drain that with a, somewhat of a channelized exit from the field and then into the road ditch. That's the way it's looking to me, is that we will default on status quo and keep it the same elevation. The letter that we put together and issued to Tom in response to his request will cover some of this. And it's maybe too soon for me to get fully into detail with that until I have
Okay.
done it. Give me a nod. And then the other ones in green there, kind of south of Buffalo, E34, W1, and L4N1. We've attempted to wait on those two until they could be done together, so you could say it's a little early for the one that's not posted on 30th Avenue. But I think we'll gain enough efficiencies in doing them both at the same time where it's worth it. The estimated remaining life is 8 and 4 years based on last year's report. So I would expect the one to be posted soon.
It's not posted yet, the one on 30th?
Or is it
I could have swore they both were posted.
the north and south is posted, east and west is not.
It is not? God, I could have swore that one was too.
Listed as legal.
Huh.
But with 8 years estimated remaining life on a timber pile bridge, the clock's ticking.
Mm-hmm.
So those were still deciding whether or not our budget looks better with concrete or metal. It would be an 8x8 concrete box, or if it were a pipe, it would be 96-inch. Probably aluminized or poly-coated metal pipe. The metal's easier, it's cheaper. It only involves our own crew and coordination. Concrete is a longer-term fix, but requires coordination with trucking companies and cranes, depending on if we can rent something and lift these pieces. It's possible we could rent a larger excavator and lift the pieces and put them down in there. We have talked about that a little bit, haven't finalized that. think that we have the money to spend where we're gonna wanna use concrete. Try to get a 100-year fix instead of 30.
Is there anybody in the county that has a larger excavator?
I mean, you know, Rognus Brothers is kinda known for using their, whatever that is, Komatsu, something, without an arm on it to lift boxes into place. They don't have very good reach with it because it doesn't have the stick on. So there's a little bit of strategy that
Yeah, you'd
that
have
may
to,
be different.
yeah.
But renting an excavator is not too big of a deal from Ziegler's. We've rented machines from them when it was needed to get deeper holes faster and have more of a lifting capacity. I think the last time we did it, we spent $5,000 renting an excavator for a whole project.
I just don't remember seeing any of the crews in the area that got one much bigger than what you guys got, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the A's do now.
Who's that?
Like Derek Aggie.
Is Derek's bigger?
Yeah, I think that's like equivalent to like the 336.
Oh, alright.
We also have some smaller cranes in the county too that 8x8 is, you know, very much lighter than a 14x12. Very small in comparison, so we'll look at the weights and see what options we have.
Yep.
We can get somebody local would be good, especially if it's a crane that's not in use all the time.
Yeah, well, it's, closer, you know, Ziegler has to haul it from Mason City, I suppose, or wherever they have it.
Yeah. Wherever it is, yeah, that's too heavy for us to haul. What else on this map? We also have a couple in red there. The northwest of Thompson, we have F17W1. This is a bridge that it's listed as 8 years estimated remaining life, but I think the piling under are in better shape than most wood bridges. We have an end wall that's leaning over and the cap is starting to roll, and they'll derate bridges pretty fast for that kind of symptoms. And I'm interested in trying to excavate behind the wall and pull it back with some sort of a dead man anchor, see if we can buy ourselves some time on this one. We've had it on the list for a couple of years to consider. That's one that could go or not. Wouldn't be a lot of money. It would be mostly just time spent and deliberating on what's going to work and what isn't. And then the other one further south is J23N1 on A44. This is a bridge that the channel alignment upstream it moves. And over time it has worked its way further east toward the abutment and is in danger of undermining the abutment if we don't correct the problem. So we would likely have to sort of build a road that our equipment could drive down from the road and underneath the bridge and kind of build out the armoring of the embankment with some sort of small equipment that fits under the bridge.
Is that on the river?
It's on the Winnebago River,
Yeah.
and we did something similar on the one north of Leland on A38 there last year that went well. That bridge was built in the 70s, 76, 74. So it's already 50 years old, but it is in really great shape. So worth an investment into fixing that kind of problem. But a work order we could probably spend a week on or something like that. Take some time. And then there's like a light blue one on the far right side of your map. That's Rice Lake. That's a project we have under contract. At least 235th up to the clubhouse is under contract. I don't know if there's any hope of having the easement lined up with Yellow Blues for adding in the neighborhood project this summer, but if it were to happen, we could add that to the project and complete the neighborhood paving as well. And then the dark blue roads are roads that we are looking at stabilizing with a product called dust pods. It's a jugged dry powder that you mix into a tanker of water, and it's a polymer-based soil stabilizer. It reacts with the clay particles in the soil and creates kind of a flexible but stabilized surface. I got a couple segments marked on there that we've talked about, and we seem to get comments about and have reasonable amount of traffic and truck traffic. So over by Buffalo, north off the Mill Road, from town to the city's dump site. 150th Avenue off the R50 junction with Highway 9 going south, 2 miles. And then the back entrance to the north side of Rice Lake these are our ideas. We kind of marked on a map of all of the potential sites, and we had triple this many and narrowed it down to candidates that kind of were a decent cross-section of the county, so we could try it in a couple different spots.
Do you have dollars on those?
The product is about $7,000 a mile, and we're still scheming a little bit on what equipment we would have to borrow or rent, mostly the tanker. The product, may not be the best thing to put in just anybody's tanker. Just kind of like the peat fire issue. They don't want the product to sort of have any corrosive. It's supposed to be non-corrosive. Don't want the product to have a negative effect on somebody else's equipment.
What's the viscosity on it? Is it pretty thick or not? Or?
I don't.
The same as with that P-Dex.
Yeah, it's like it'll kind of
Gummy, a little.
In your fingers, it's a little bit like spider webby. I don't know, but in the tank, no, not really.
No, the only problem Todd had with that P-Dex was in the inductors. Tried some gummy in there, so still want to use something like that.
Don't want to take your new Hagee out there and fill it.
Right, I don't want to use Sugar Farms water tender and then plug it in the sprayer.
And our brine applicator tanker doesn't.
It would work, it's just not the volume of water that it would require for a mile. It would take a long time to haul that.
How many gallons per mile?
I think it was like 70,000 gallons a mile.
Okay.
That takes
Oh yeah, they're only 1,200 or 1,400.
Yeah, and we're also looking for optimum moisture. So if we get the product on there and it's still looking dry, we're gonna go get more water. So we gotta have the ability to adjust the moisture on demand. Optimum moisture is critical to getting the product mixed and compacted.
Yeah.
Optimum compaction.
What's down that 150th there that
It's just gonna heavy traffic.
it's just,
The first half mile has been dust controlled for years and packs in nice anyway. So
I don't know if there's a reason for high traffic on that one.
There's
Just the church is down there, all right.
It's also one of
straight off R50.
It's one of a few too that we had marked, which is off of a paved junction that seems to get a lot of cut across traffic. So like south off of there, and we also looked at west off the 969 junction. We looked at going off the 844 corner. So these places where you can save time if you cut across on gravel, and that's the behavior that we see from traffic. So.
Well, when I first looked at it, I just assumed it was probably going down to the seed farm.
No.
That's 130th, so it's,
Right, that's a candidate too.
Yeah.
Looked at like by the bowling alley here in town and some of those higher traffic Mount Valley roads.
That
We
two
can't cover all the suspects.
and
Well,
that
you wanna-
2 mile stretch is wide too. So blading takes. There's a good width there to deal
Yeah,
with.
same thing for Mill Road north of Buffalo.
So that traffic cuts south there to go to the elevator.
A lot of feed traffic there.
A lot of Winnebago traffic coming from the north cuts across the.
What I'd like to show you, and I haven't got the numbers put in a way to present it, But this stabilizing process, we will sort of deduct from our rock budget with the, hoping we can show that this product will save enough maintenance in the future that it
Pays for
break
itself,
even, pay for itself. So what it will do is it will cut down significantly on any blading time. Some of these products are advertising and other counties have used it, are echoing that it doesn't need to be bladed at all. And the only thing that needs to happen is touch-ups of bridge approaches, or maybe at intersections where people are starting to stop and
The
align.
washboards, yeah.
Yeah, and it should be highly resistant to washboards because it's a stabilized surface, so we'll just have to see. These products are not meant to be disrupted very much because they develop a three-dimensional structure that if you disrupt, they don't quite mend together the same. Some products say that they can do that better than others. You know, like if you had a concrete pavement and you went up there and rubberized it, it wouldn't pack down into concrete. We all know that, but these are all proprietary products. We've chosen the one that we think has the most likely chance to succeed and be able to be repaired if needed, but hold up the best, and also is kind of shelf stable, and we don't have to deal with totes of material taking up space in the shop.
So when you do the mill road there, you're gonna go just a little bit west on 450th? Not that that would benefit me or anything.
We'll see how much material we have left over.
So if it's
That
seven,
washboard there sometimes has been bad enough to even make my truck kind of start sliding.
Sure,
so it's $7,000 roughly
for
a
this
mile,
powdered material,
and you're
and
gonna,
then we're gonna also have a bunch of water into it, which is, you know, free and some time. So we'll have our maintainer outfit with a ripper, with ripper teeth, and probably have two maintainers out there blading material. We'll have one with the roller on the back, maybe even have a secondary roller, a rubber tire roller. Tanker that we need to figure out. Is that it?
so you'd have under $50,000 on those, probably.
All together, you're saying?
Yeah.
So what do we got here? 2 miles, 1.5, and 5 miles total, 7,000.
I mean,
Maybe some equipment.
We might have to double that cost for labor, maybe even more than that, so 50,000, 60, 70,000.
if it works out good, it
it'd
would
be
be
fun to watch,
buying
actually.
yourselves an old tanker just for that, or whatever else you wanna use it for.
Yeah,
So, cause if you're gonna, I mean, it's gonna say, if it works like we're hoping, it pay to have it, cause you're gonna start doing more and more miles of road, so.
yeah. I mean, if we're blading, let's say once a year we gotta do some touch-up blading, and instead of every 3 years or 2 years putting new rock down, it's 10. I mean, I don't know. We have to do a little bit of guessing based on the research. But not only could that save some money, has the potential to, but also would have a level of service that people appreciate in the meantime.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be a dust-free surface, but it's certainly supposed to have a
Minimize it
significant
anyway.
impact on dust.
Well, I know some people in District 2 that would really like to see that.
Yeah, we'll consider this fully a trial, right? And we'll have to monitor it through the winter and into the summer to really have a good grasp on whether it's doing what we expected. And then it might be, 2, 3, 4 more years before we can decipher whether or not the economics are beneficial or if this is just an upgrade.
So winter freeze and thaw doesn't seem to affect it?
It's supposed to retain some bit of flexibility in the structure, but it's hard to believe that freeze thaw wouldn't have a detrimental effect to it.
So does it get tough enough that it's harder to blade when you do blade?
Yeah.
I would assume that it
Like
would
if
be
you're gonna
a
touch
little
it
more
up,
wear on the blades.
You'd take the day after we got a soaker, and he might have some new material that you mixed up, and you go out there touch up blading and kind of give it a spray of some new material. That's kind of how we've seen it. That's how, at least it was with Permazyme. I'm not sure with Best Pods. We got some consulting we'll need help with. I think the company will have to come give us some advice on some of that stuff.
Mhm.
But I think we're confident enough and we've seen enough about it to at least try it.
I think it's worth
It's
a try.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, especially in these years where we kind of have our stockpiles full with material and we have, I don't know, I think we have ability to try some new things here.
And, you know, that one over by Lake Mills is a little different traffic than the other two. So it'll be kind of nice to see the
More
difference,
car traffic
how it's
probably
affected.
than truck traffic.
Cars and boats.
Yeah,
yeah.
even the off the Mill Road, I mean, there's truck traffic there too, but the volume generated by the dump site, I think, is primarily passenger cars, pickups
Sure.
and stuff.
Sure you wouldn't wanna just go up to 460th?
If it works really good,
It's
they'll
up to
be
you
doing
guys
all
what
of
you
them.
wanna do here. This is our proposal, of taking.
Not that I'm thinking of myself or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we wanted it to be enough mileage to have a good sampling and without spending $100,000 on this
The-
idea.
By far the biggest complaint is all the traffic going to the burn site.
I mean, I know what it's like here in Fort City by the burn site. The road is chattered with washboards all year long, so I imagine it's similar. You have to make a special trip just to blade that little mile and a half in that case.
Mhm.
Here it's 1,000 feet.
Yeah. More time to get there than it does to do it.
Yeah. So that kind of is a summary of this coming year's projects that I've included them before in the budget. And I guess I had originally thought to include some of those fog seals in the secondary road fund budget, but just the way it worked, we had enough other projects that kind of filled out those dollar amounts, and the TIF was looking for, more projects to round out that funding source. So I think that works well. That's how I'm proposing to go about that. Maybe I'll jump to this one with the chart on real quick. I don't need you to dig into this table at all here, but the chart is the piece that I will clip out and usually put in the presentation for you guys. So the way that I started to approach our pavement management system is to deal with mile years of life. So every year we have 150 miles of pavement that gets 1 year older, 150 mile years that we lose. And so we try to put that back into the system with reconstruction, resurfacing, and pavement maintenance. So you see on the right side, there's a chart full of all the different ideas and treatments that we've been using for extending the life of pavements. It has a general dollar per mile cost. We have an estimated life extension for how long until that road needs major intervention, and then broken it down a couple of different ways into dollars per year per mile. And that's the number that we're basing all these decisions on. It's trying to maximize the economics of what we're doing. And then on the left side, it's a list of all of our road segments in the whole county, all the paved ones. And kind of the last time they were major rehab, when they were repaired, what the treatment was, and the remaining life. That gives us a way to tabulate the system as we see it now, and also in 2031, which is the end of our 5-year program. So with the treatments that we've got programmed and planned in the 5-year construction program, once we get to 2031, we'll be in pretty good shape. We'll have barely any roads that are at the end of life. We have, 6.5 with 3 to 5 years left. 24 with 6 to 8, and then everything else is over 9. And so we're continuing to push these bars of roads further into the future. And, so we push our need for reconstruction dollars further down the line, and in the meantime, we maximize the dollars that we're spending. We maximize the benefit of the dollars that we're spending to increase those lives. So this is my toolkit for deciding which roads need to be treated and when, what those benefits are, and whether or not we get to the end of our 5-year program and end up with a mess on our hands. So I think the way that we have it structured now is I'm optimistic that we won't be having conversations like there was in 2007 and 2008 when they all got old at the same time. They tried to put some more money into it, and that was when the budget appeal was, and they were using the TIF to bail themselves out of a bad road situation. So we're using TIF as well in small increments here, and I think we're making the best use of it. We maybe have options to use TIF in the future as well, but I'm approaching it as if it won't be available, right? We'll try to make the best decisions we can, knowing that our budgets are going to be tight 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Proof of your nerdiness. Right. I mean, it's a good thing.
There's a lot of different pavement maintenance tools and programs and software out there, and this is the best way I've found to boil it down to something that really anybody can wrap their mind around.
Seems like in the last 5 to 10 years, there's been a lot of changes in products available too that really affects this.
Partly because I've been going down the rabbit holes of some of these products and trying to bring them to our county, and you see people around the state, other county engineers, bringing things into their counties that we're watching. And we're watching what Minnesota does with some of their treatments, and we work with some Minnesota contractors who say, we've done this in a different place, or Barner from Wisconsin, we've done this in a different place.
Yeah.
We have flexibility with our local dollars to be able to try things that DOT doesn't have specifications for and would have trouble bidding, for instance.
I'm sure your networking is invaluable. I mean, the
For
guys
sure.
you talk to.
Yeah.
And
Especially when they've already tested it out and it's worked for them, and not that it'll always work in your situation. But what is Color Biotics Bean?
Color Biotics is a soybean-based asphalt pavement rejuvenator. It's one of
Kind of like the stuff they
100.
spray on your asphalt shingles to soften them up?
Well, asphalt shingles are spec in the DOT standard specifications. Those are a little bit more. They have a specification applied to them because they can, meet certain standards with that kind of product. And Color Biotics soybean-based rejuvenator is a proprietary product, like many of these fog seals are. We've done some investigation into bio-based sealers, and the general case is they are more expensive than the non-proprietary products that are more in the realm of asphalt-based. GSB 88, for instance, has kind of a limited market on where it can come from, and it's formulated different than typical asphalt products because it has a gilsonite, which is a solid, mined as a solid somehow. And
That's just one I'd never heard of.
yeah, we have started to see a lot of these pop up at our conferences too, these booths with special, similar to the dust pods and the Permazymes and those treatments. Those things are coming up together and getting more popular. And in the same realm, they are proprietary products. They're most of the time clear, water-looking products that have some sort of polymer that makes them very expensive somehow, whatever process they use to produce these things. And their use is pretty limited in field research, so either we wait for the research to tell us, or we do some trials. And the bio-based sealers have been too expensive for me to consider at this point. I got some material in my office from one that we got this year that I talked to this year that I think has the potential to get the cost in the right place. And then it'll be a decision whether we think their claims are going to pan out or lengthening the life of the road. They all say what chemically it's doing to the pavement, but in reality, all we want to see is two roads side by side, if one's treated and one isn't, and we get 20 years down the road, do they look the same, or does one look better? Not just do they look the same, but how soon do we need to address the aging of the pavement? If it's 2 years later, that product probably pays for itself. 3, 4, 5, whatever, then we're all on bonus dollars. If it's the same and we got no benefit or barely any to change our minds about whether we're going to resurface that road, then that benefit pretty well goes to zero. I should say that we did have a bio-based product called Replay applied in the test section on the Pilot Knob Road before I was here. And I wasn't ever able to find where it was. And
So it
since
must
then,
not
we
have done
covered it with
anything.
microsurfacing, so
Don't know whether,
that one didn't pan out. And I don't know if they might have got it for free, I'm not sure.
there was no obvious, improvement in one little
Right.
section of pavement, huh?
Right. I mean, they want you to trial these, I think a lot of these products would give you a trial of 1,000 feet or something. But
I can't
on the
believe,
grand scale, we need a bigger sample size to be able to see the difference between the cracking behavior and the surface oxidation, and ultimately whether we make different decisions about it in the future and the timing. If you say this one prevents cracks, and at the end, well, you just resurface them at the same time because they're both old and don't ride well. I don't care if they had cracks or not in the first 4 years. It's all about the lifespan, the extension of lifespan, and when we need to revisit it with more deeper intervention, with milling or recycling or something like that.
there's always been snake oil salesmen.
That's right. That's right.
I'd like to offer up the Snake Road southwest of. I'll keep a really good eye on it for you.
Yeah.
215th and 440.
Wouldn't look bad if we do all the roads that
Yeah,
pass by
I'm
our
pretty sure.
supervisors' residences.
Yeah, well, no, that's
I
not
live
resident.
I live on a U.S. highway, so.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to control the dust just a little bit further north on Mill Road, you could keep the county attorney happy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. There's all that. Ultimately, we're gonna have you guys approve which roads get done.
I think if we keep it small the first year and then expand from there, I think
Now we gotta see
Well,
the
how long
result.
will it take you to even know if this works, though? I mean,
Yeah, like I
it's
said, at least a winter to see
I would say a year.
how it's behaving. Whether or not we get 10 years of life out of it or 4, it will take 4 years or 10.
Yeah. But right up front, you should know what you gotta do maintenance wise, so.
Right. I mean, initially, we'll save some blading, hopefully, but then can we save some rock? That won't be known until
Yeah.
later on. And you'd hate to get 10 years down the road and say, oops, now we really need to pour it on because all the rock got obliterated and we didn't really want to address it because of the product there.
Is it gonna stop them frost boils from boiling up the dirt in the middle or not,
Yeah. The last thing I had is the 5-year program, and I don't think I need to spend too much time on this right now, but it has all the projects that support these other two things. It shows the first year or two's projects in pretty good confidence, and then the third, fourth, fifth years, not so much, with the exception of A42 west of Core City is programmed with federal aid dollars. So that will likely stay on schedule. I guess it is in the 2028 program year, which is a few years out. We have secured the federal aid for that, and to push it off would be possible. But I think by the time we get to this stage, A42 will have deteriorated to a point where we want to spend some money on it. The treatment that we have planned for it is just like we do with R20, not cold place recycling type of intervention, but more of a typical overlay with hot place recycling underneath of it. All the bridges that are posted or have one-lane bridge postings, all those are in here, and those will get juggled as we get closer to their end of life. We have a better than ever, probably, the way that our bridge postings look right now. We have more postings now that are the triple truck sign, and many of those are not restrictive to any legal weight traffic, except maybe harvest, overload, proclamation type weights. And so I'm not too disappointed about posting those legal limits to those bridges, because it'll protect them from the proclamation weight haulers out there that were otherwise going over these bridges. We have some posted one lane, and those are usually a precursor to a load posting. And we got a couple, like for instance, D10W1 that has a 22-ton posting, but that posting hasn't changed since I've been here. It's an old concrete bridge, probably maybe early 20s it was built. I don't know if we even have the record on that one.
So that's one you're proposing to replace with a tank?
Yeah, it happens to be the right size. That could change too. We have gone back and forth on our opinions about tank cars, especially trying to connect one end to end with another. They're a lot to manhandle, especially to try to get two recycled products end to end and get them to marry up nicely.
Yeah, do you have to like put like tar paper around that seam, or what do you do?
Or is it sleeved?
Put like a band over it and then try to weld those around both sides.
Oh, is that right?
Right. But, trying to get them to sandwich together close enough to weld is tricky.
Yeah, no, it's
It's like trying to get two eggs shapes to match.
yeah.
Yeah, so the last tank car project.
Depends on where they cut the end off on.
And turning it a little bit's a little difficult.
Right. So the last tank project we did was by the Three Fingers Campground, and those were side by side, not end to end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was a good project. I think those are staying open, and that project's working out okay.
Did you fill them with rock in between them, or
Yeah, sand, gravel.
gravel?
We welded them together.
So they can't move.
Like a plate between the two pipes so they wouldn't scour in between.
Yeah.
What else for postings? F24N1, that's the one just northeast of Thompson that we had on the possible closure list years ago. It seems like that one will fit okay in possibly next year. Not this coming year, but the following. It kind of covers all the posting bridges. I guess the one by Leland that's owned by the city at 19 tons, that's in progress. They have funding for that lined up.
I was going to ask on
Calvin
that.
Bridge
You've
is
got all
working.
the engineering done.
It's not
for it?
done. They are preliminary design phase, trying to match up the hydraulics with the height of the bridge, with some potential for, we have a restriction there in that both sides of the road have wetland programs that are not conducive to any temporary easements. You can get pieces, slivers bought out of the program, but it takes a couple of years and it's a tedious process.
It's a mitigation, right? You have to exchange it for
I'm not
something
sure
else.
if it would need mitigation. If it did, that's probably the easiest part of it. It's got to go, I think it might take did they say a congressional action or something to pull pieces out of the program? I mean,
I
they're
suppose
wetland programs,
they're
so
pretty sacred.
if it doesn't benefit the wetland, it isn't considered. So if you say, like, we'll make it up to you, right? Whatever we disturb, we'll put back into wetland programs, so it doesn't benefit them, so that it's not gonna allow it. So we are looking at most likely a curved bridge to fit as neatly in this bend of a right-of-way, 66-foot right-of-ways we have, and maintaining the elevation even though it doesn't meet the freeboard requirement of 3 feet above the 150-year flood. According to their hydraulics, the water will overflow the road and relieve some of the pressure before it would overtop the bridge. So I didn't feel like it was worth raising up the bridge knowing the road's going to be overtopped sooner anyway. As long as it's designed so it can resist the flood if it gets that high, it won't take it off the foundation, for instance.
Worst case scenario, you could do like Chesapeake Bay Bridge where it goes under the water. The road just disappears.
Really?
It's a fascinating thing to go through.
And I've been on
The ships go over the top of it and you go under.
I don't want to go
tunnel
there.
or no?
It's a tunnel that goes under the river, or under the bay.
If you've been to Hood Canal Bridge in Washington, that floats. And as the tide comes in and out, it floats.
Which bridge?
Hood Canal, I think? Or is it Tacoma Narrows?
Oh,
I get those mixed up.
up in that Washington,
Yes,
okay.
Washington State.
There's something about going under the water. It's like when I lived up by San Francisco, the BART, the Bay Area Rail Transport, and that had a tube underneath the bay going from one side to the other, and it's just, if an earthquake were to happen right now, it's like, I could never, I rode it once, and after that, I'm like, I'm never going down there again. Especially if I was out there for the World Series earthquake game. I was at the World Series game on October 17th of, 89. And, after that, it's like, I'll never, no way, you're gonna get me underneath there.
Anything else?
Maybe one other note I'll put on here too is that we're continuing with our microsurfacing program. We like it. We think it's one of the best things that we can do for the roads. So we're continuing with that and some fog seals earlier on in pavement life. And then the G17 N1 bridge, the other one that we have at risk of closure, we continue to bump it down to the end. So we have it in the program in case something changes, we can move it up, but at this point, we don't plan to address it anytime soon.
Is that one on level B?
Level B road. Let's see, what is it at 3 tons right now?
But traffic is pretty minimal.
Yeah, the only other idea I had, we found a product at the county engineers conference of a pile replacement product that I'm interested in getting some quotes for some of our wooden bridges to see if it's worth getting an extra 10 years out of them. We don't have that many left, and some of them aren't terribly expensive to fix, to replace with pipes. But it's this product, it's like a steel sleeve that has cut out the rotten part of the pile. You dig down below the water line to find a good part of the pile, and it attaches to that with lag screws. And then it bolts to the top cap, and then you use grout to pressurize the pile and keep it in place. And it comes with engineers, load ratings and everything. It's something that potentially our guys could install themselves with the help of a pressure grouter. It's interesting. It's the best solution I've ever seen for wood pile repair. So we may be looking at that also. We got to try 100 new ideas a year.
Well, yeah, no, it's all interesting.
Other than that, I think we'll be waiting for that bridge to get the inspection that says that we can't leave it open anymore. And it wasn't this year, otherwise they would have told us. We're at least good until next spring.
All right.
What I need to tell you, we'll get into budget when we get into budget, and then you kind of have a good background for kind of how I put that together.
Speaking of budgets, what's it looking like as far as the time frame still, or for us to
I mean, I don't have the budgets in yet, or maybe you wait till after the comp board, but if I can get them in, we'll still plan to do what we talked about.
Does the comp board have a date?
this Thursday, right? Yeah. What time of day is that?
But Carla did give me the levy calculation sheet that shows that our taxable growth was strong this year, so we have 3% reductions in our levy rate maximums. So from last year, they will need to be 3% reduced at the max. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
With the taxable growth being 9.42% for general, we still have decent revenue growth, looks like. So lower levies, higher value, still
Yeah.
higher revenue. So at least for this year, to me, looks okay. Obviously, legislation is starting soon, the session. Who knows
That's
what'll
what
happen.
it's all about.
You'd think they'd have got another grumping about the last one, that they might be just a little gun shy about doing anything else too silly.
I think at the very least, they could simplify their approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me too.
The problem with the tax system is that you touch something here, it affects everything else.
Oh.
And there's just so much to it, and I don't think they completely understand.
They just keep moving the ball that creates more work for everybody.
Well, they don't understand the impact of one thing can affect so much else.
Yeah, and try to explain somebody. I'm trying to dig into this a little bit about why our taxable growth is the way it is and how that affects people's taxes. And it's quite complicated when you understand all the intricacies of the tax systems, the different classifications of land and how they figure it. Ag is specifically got its own complicated formula and the way that the statewide values affect your local dollars. Should be a professional for this.
All right, anything else for secondary roads? Or was that enough?
I was gonna say, not enough.
Thank
Thank
you
you for the,
all the information.
thank you for your dissertation.
Yes, yes. That was quite an illuminating discourse, I'll have to give you that. Okay, we'll move on to number 8, open forum then.
Nope, that's, those
You're
are
just
the
practicing.
original, yeah. I believe.
I only regret, on a video without these maps and stuff, it would be pretty hard to follow the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that.
We like visual
This one
aids.
didn't need to be signed.
Oh,
You just signed.
Wanna,
Well, that's you that has to
we're
sign.
getting kinda close, you wanna give her some time to get here? Call,
Well, wait a minute, is it?
She's listening.
Oh, she is.
She's on her way.
all right.
See, this should have been Bill on this, shouldn't it?
What's the date?
The second?
Well,
No, that's
She's-
December 23rd.
Oh,
That's still Susan.
She started out the day in charge.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't match up then. Because it adjourned in January.
No, session was
Oh,
adjourned
until,
until.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
That was a long meeting. Kind of like this one.
yeah, reading was real hard on me too.
You don't need to do anything with it.
Oh, she signed it in the wrong spot.
what?
No, it didn't need
Yeah,
to
you
be
approved?
stamped.
Oh, it didn't need to be stamped.
No, it did
All
not
right,
need to be
all right.
That's where all the confusion started.
Okay.
Oh, good lord. I think I need to talk to Brody about the food.
Yeah, it's a little shaky.
Yeah, there's something wrong with it.
Put your glasses on.
If you just do the.
Yeah.
just-
Two wrongs make a right, so I hold up my glasses.
So we're in open forum. I had some conversations this week about the recycling again, that parts of it were full and other parts there was room. Like the cardboard, there was room for it, but there was no room for glass or plastic or metal. And she said that there was no phone number on the bins, but the phone number is on the
Sign.
Board.
pole, right, on the signage. So I said that to her as well. So I don't know if it was just, the holiday and people had time to,
I drove by several times and it wasn't that bad over the holidays.
Hmm.
I didn't see a lot of stuff standing around it. Early before the holidays, there was more pressure on it than
sure,
during
didn't
the
see what
holidays.
day
So.
this was. Yesterday.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's emptied.
it's not a perfect science.
It's the science we can afford at this point.
See, it should just have the same amount every week, so it could just be steady as pie.
Did you tell them it wasn't their turn?
Really.
It's hard to tell them when they're coming all the way from the east side of the county line.
Yeah.
The east side of the county line?
Well,
That would
east
be
side
another
of the
county.
Yeah, take it the other direction then, right?
Definitely wasn't their turn.
Yeah, I'll say that next time. I'll say that Terry says, take your turn. That's all I had.
Okay, then we'll move on to consider for approval auditor's quarterly report.
That gets stamped. Motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the auditor's quarterly report.
I'll second.
A motion from Smith, a second from Derby to approve the auditor's quarterly report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Consider for approval recorder's quarterly report.
I'll make the motion to approve the recorder's quarterly report.
I'll second it.
Motion from Smith, a second from Derby to approve the recorder's quarterly report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, consider for approval resolution for Winnebago County interest.
Did I put that up there?
Yep, it's here.
So this is the one, oh yeah, this is the one we had to,
Yeah, I talked about it last week.
yeah, we talked about it, but we didn't action on it. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution pertaining to Winnebago County interest.
I'll second.
Oh, on a motion by Derby and a second by Smith to approve the resolution for Winnebago County interest. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right,
What does the interest thing do?
It's, it just identifies, we have to identify that, like the, accrue interest in accounts, like to employee health insurance, flex spending accounts, things like that, we have to approve a resolution for that.
The interest stays in those accounts or it goes to?
Does it stay in those accounts then, specifically?
Yes,
Otherwise it goes, I suppose, in the
into
general.
the general, yeah.
okay. Number 12, generator for public health with possible action.
So we're having some problem with the generator not functioning the way it should.
Yep, yesterday when they go do their check, the red lights were on. So Rick went and talked to Kevin. Kevin came down, did a few things, if you can see it by the email there. And it just so happens he ended up then, when he came back, he had gotten the second bid, had come in yesterday morning. So I called Carla right away and I said, hey, can I get on the agenda? She said, too late, come in over at 9 and get on. So I did. So that's where we're at. So she has the two bids in front of her. I'm in the process of finishing the grant. It is due February 1, and you don't know until April if you get that. But we need a reliable generator. And since we're out of Worth County, this grant, the stipulation is that we match 25%. So in the grant, I'm asking for $12,200.
Do we need to accept one of the estimates then, to move
Yeah.
forward?
And I mean, I'll try and get, I think I penciled it out. If we don't get any of the grant, it'll be tight for the budget, but I've worked with tight before, so. I just can't have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of
Yeah.
immunizations. Not covered.
So there's two bids and there's one that is lower.
That one's more local than the other one, so.
Mhm.
So the one you have now, we were hoping to pass down to the road building.
And as in Kevin's email, so today when Rick came, it was fine. Green lights, the whole 9 yards, everything's great. So, is it the battery? Is it not? You know?
Well, was it below zero when I checked it the last time and above? I mean, batteries are really fussy when it comes to temperature.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So, as you can see, that battery was replaced in 24 and it should
24.
be good.
So,
It should be,
should be,
yeah.
as what he put, but,
Batteries,
You know,
batteries are not what they used to be
right.
at
Heck,
all.
I
They
just
don't
got a
last
new
very
battery
long.
in my car a year ago and I had to replace it already.
I just had to put new batteries in my semi and I put them in 2010.
Right, so he's keeping an eye on that, but I just think we need to go forward, just because of what we have in our,
Yeah, and lead time and
right, because for them to come, I don't know what, what his work schedule's like to get it, and then he'd have to order it, I'm sure, and come down and work on it, so, or whatever, so.
Luckily, the lower bid is the local bid.
Mhm. And if we do lose power and stuff, Kevin's right here, I'm here, Barb's here. I mean, I can run over and if we have to move them, our second, our place to move them is out at the LEC.
since this is a public health building, is there any possibility of having like stationary generators in the pedal form?
Yeah, there you go.
We could, it could go toward our wellness. could
Yeah,
go
well,
toward our
yeah.
Wellness credits,
Yeah.
Oh,
I've always said I was gonna have one of them for my dang TV. If I wanna watch TV, I got pedal.
I have a nurse that wants to have a walking pad underneath her computer, have a stand-up thing,
Sure, yeah.
just saying.
But, yeah, you got a little time, hopefully the power, but if the power goes out for an extended period of time, then you got trouble with it. Otherwise, you got, deep freezers will stay below freezing for quite a while.
And they have a parameter, they have to, I mean, every day we have to log, every day the temperature, twice a day.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Is it just below freezing, or does it have to be a certain degree below freezing?
It depends, the refrigerator and the freezer are two different, so we have two refrigerators. And I think
I mean, does some stuff have to be kept like
Yeah.
40 below zero,
yeah,
or?
and some is in the freezer that we,
That,
and when they come and audit us from the state, since we have the I-4 grant, that's one thing they check.
Well, there is oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Been hearing on the
Yeah, they
news,
come once a
there is
year.
no oversight on stuff like that.
They come once a year.
Must be just Minnesota.
well, the only way there could ever be oversight is if the state was in control.
Oh, what do you guys think?
Lower bid,
Well,
moving on, I would say.
sounds like the old one is gonna find a good home, so.
Was that your motion?
Scott can still get a hold of it and see, maybe it is only a battery
battery.
Oh, I'm
situation.
guessing it's something relatively fixable.
This is what.
Right, right. As long as there's parts available, there ain't nothing you can't fix.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to replace the generator at Public Health with the low bid, as soon as possible.
Second it.
All right. Got a motion from Smith and a second from Derby to approve, to buy a new generator for public health. The low bid coming from Go Electric for $16,325.38. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Do we need to stamp anything on this then, or
Probably
Yeah,
should
please.
stamp the one that we accepted.
the bid?
Yep. And then, this application is due the 1st of February, and I only have one question left to answer. And then we go to, take a look at it and dot my i's and cross my t's and make sure that my English is gooder. Good.
Well, you're probably still in that leering stage.
Yep. And, then I'll send it off.
Thanks, Julie. Took a while to get that second bid, didn't it?
It did, so.
It was close enough that I would have been tempted to take the local bid, even if it was that much higher.
We have parameters we have to meet though.
You know,
It has to be out of state before you can kick it out.
yeah.
And there's gotta be a, really good reason.
To not be challenged.
really good reason to be is they pay taxes in our county.
Or service
That
reports.
doesn't follow
Yeah.
public bidding law, but
No, probably not, but that's common sense, this is common sense laws I'm talking about, and that doesn't come into play in
But
government.
you could probably cite references saying that this other company.
Our
does-
service could be much better from this company,
Yeah.
in theory. What, do you wanna stand adjourned, is that it?